is a very specific type of anxiety that hits you when you start a new corporate job. It's not about whether you can do the work. It's not even really about, whether your boss is going to like you.
It's that imposter syndrome anxiety, right? The feeling that you're about to be found out.
It is, but it's triggered by something so specific.
Yeah.
You're sitting in that first big meeting, maybe your first week.
Yeah.
You've got your fresh notebook, your nice pen, you're ready to look smart and take notes, and then it starts.
The alphabet soup.
The alphabet soup. The manager the air in the room fills with letters. Someone looks at you and says, okay, so we need to prep the QBR for the SteerCo by EOD.
EOD, of course.
So let's review the OKRs and ensure the KPIs are green. Otherwise, the ROI on this new SaaS implementation is going to completely tank.
And everyone else just nods.
They just nod. Like that was a completely normal, comprehensible English sentence.
And you're sitting there thinking, I thought I spoke English. I have a degree in this language. What is happening right now?
Right. And you can't ask. That's the killer. You can't be the person 5 minutes into your new job who raises their hand and goes, excuse me, what's a QBR? Is a SteerCo a type of cattle?
You'd feel like an idiot, so you just nod along and hope it becomes clear from context, which it never does.
It never does. It's this universal rite of passage. And that barrier to entry, it isn't just about vocabulary, it's cultural. Until you speak the language, this very specific dialect of corporate, you are effectively sitting at the kid's table.
That's a great way to put it. You can't really participate in the strategy if you don't even know what the words mean. You're just there.
Well, that is our mission today. We are going to dismantle that barrier. We have a stack of sources here, and one in particular, a really comprehensive glossary that was designed for people in this exact situation.
Yeah, it's for junior consultants, new hires at the big four firms, people joining tech startups or IT services companies. It's the survival guide.
And we're going to use it to decode 141 terms.
141. It sounds like a lot, and it is, but they actually fall into some very logical buckets.
Right.
We've got consulting, management, project management, IT, HR, marketing, and of course, my favorite, the ones everyone loves to hate, the buzzwords.
The bullshit bingo category.
We will definitely get there. But the goal here isn't just to read a dictionary out loud. We want to explain how these terms are used in the wild, why they matter, and how to use them so you sound like you've been running the place for years.
And just a heads up for you listening, because 141 terms is a lot to hold in your head while you're, driving or doing the dishes. There's a downloadable PDF glossary available.
We'll remind you about that at the end. But yeah, don't feel like you need to be taking frantic notes. Just soak in the context.
Think of this as the why and the how.
And the PDF is the what.
Perfect. So let's jump in. We're starting with the people who kind of invented this language.
Yes, sir.
Section 1. The gatekeepers. Consulting and audit.
For sure. Even if you don't work in consulting, you are absolutely going to work with these people at some point. Their language seeps into everything.
So let's start at the absolute top of the food chain. The Big Four. You hear this constantly. Oh, she's ex-Big Four. Who are they and what do they do?
So the Big Four are these massive global professional services networks. We're talking about Deloitte, PwC, which is PricewaterhouseCoopers, EY, which is Ernst & Young, and KPMG.
They're the giants.
They're the giants. They're in every country. They employ hundreds of thousands of people.
So when you say professional services, what does that actually mean? Because it feels like they do everything.
They pretty much do. Historically, they all started as accounting firms. Their core business was audit.
Okay, so checking a company's financial books.
Exactly. Making sure the company isn't lying about its money, that there's no fraud. It's a legally required thing for public companies. Yeah. But over the last few decades, they've just morphed. Now they do tax, legal services, and a massive, massive amount of consulting. If a Fortune 500 company wants to reorganize its entire European operations or implement a huge new software system across 50 countries, they call a Big Four firm.
So they are the safe pair of hands, the ones you hire for a huge, complex project you can't mess up?
Precisely. The old saying used to be, nobody ever got fired for buying IBM.
Right.
The new version of that is nobody ever got fired for hiring Deloitte. It's the safe blue chip choice.
Okay, but then you have this other acronym, which is often whispered with a bit more, reverence and maybe a bit more fear, the MBB.
Ah, yes. the MBD. This is the prestige tier of consulting. It stands for McKinsey, BCG, the Boston Consulting Group, and Bain.
So what is the actual difference between them and the Big Four? Is it just that they charge more money?
Well, they definitely charge more, a lot more, but the real distinction is in the type of problem they're hired to solve. The Big Four are often about implementation and risk. Doing the work, managing the big project, making sure it's all compliant and above board. MBB is pure strategy.
What does that mean in practice?
They are hired by the CEO or the board of directors to answer these huge existential questions. Things like, should we acquire our biggest competitor for $10 billion? Or should we enter the Chinese market? Should we shut down this entire division of our company?
So the Big Four is help us do this big thing correctly.
Right.
And MBB is tell us what big thing we should even be doing in the first place.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
And that distinction then trickles all the way down to the life of the employees. If you're at an MBB firm, the hours are notoriously brutal, the travel is constant, but the exit opportunities, the jobs you get after you leave, are usually into very high-level corporate strategy roles.
Got it. Now, there's another acronym in our source material that might be a little unfamiliar to some of our U.S. listeners, but it is huge in Europe and really across the global tech scene, the ESN.
Yes. ESN. This stands for Enterprise de Services du Numérique, which in English just means a digital services company.
I think I've heard the term SSII used before, especially in France. Is that the same thing?
It is, yeah. SSII was the old term, but it had a bit of a, let's just say, a body shop or sweatshop reputation.
Oh.
So the industry rebranded to ESN to sound more modern and more prestigious. These are companies like Capgemini, Soprasteria, Atos. Huge, huge employers.
So how do they fit into the ecosystem with the Big Four and MBE?
Okay, so if MB is the brain doing the pure strategy,
Right.
and the Big Four is the compliance and management layer,
Okay.
then the ESNs are the muscle. They are the builders. They are the ones actually writing the code, managing the servers, integrating the software, staffing the big IT help desks. They are the doers.
I see. So if a bank needs a new mobile app, MBB might say, you should build an app to target millennials.
Yep.
The Big Four might say, here are the regulatory risks of building that app, and here's a project plan. And the ESN is the company that actually hires the 200 developers to build the app.
Broadly, yes, that's the traditional breakdown. I will say, though, those lines are blurring a lot. Every company wants to do the high-margin strategy work now. But historically, that's the deal.
Now, regardless of which of these firms you work for, or if you hire them, if you're a consultant, you are effectively a product sitting on a shelf. And that product has a price tag.
That is the harsh, unvarnished reality of the business model. And that price tag is the TJM.
TJM.
Tao Journalier Moyen. It translates to average daily rate.
So this is what the client company pays for you, the individual consultant, for 1 day of your time.
Correct. And this number defines your entire existence in that world. If you're a junior just out of college at an ESN, your TJM might be, say, 400 or 500 euros.
Okay.
If you're a senior manager at a Big Four, it could be 1,500. If you're a partner at McKinsey, it could be 5,000, 10,000 euros per day.
Wow. That creates a really weird psychological pressure, doesn't it? Just knowing that every single day you sit in that chair, you have to generate that much value for the client.
It absolutely does. It's why there's such an obsession with utilization rates. If you aren't billable, meaning on a client project, you are an expense. You are actively costing the firm money.
Right.
It's also why clients can be so demanding. If they know they're paying 2,000 euros for you to be in that meeting and you just sit there on your phone, they notice.
Yeah.
And they are not happy.
Yeah, I bet. So let's talk about how these deals actually happen.
Yeah.
Because before that consultant with a huge TJM ever shows up, there's this whole courtship ritual involving what our sources call the R series of acronyms.
The R series.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the formal language of procurement departments everywhere. It usually starts with an RFI.
RFI.
Request for information. This is basically the client just fishing. They're sending out feelers. Hey, we're thinking we might want to do a project about AI someday. Who out there does AI stuff?
It's like swiping on a dating app. You're just seeing who's out there, what the options are.
Exactly. It's very low commitment. But if they get some interesting responses, they'll move to the next stage, the RFP.
The dreaded RFP. I've heard horror stories about these.
The request for proposal. This is where it gets serious. Now, the client says, okay, we have this very specific problem. We have this specific budget in mind. Tell us exactly how you would solve it, who you'd put on the team, and how much it will cost.
And all the consulting firms are bidding against each other.
It's a total dogfight. Answering an RFP is a nightmare. You have teams of senior consultants staying up all night for weeks, writing these 100-page PowerPoint decks, building financial models, all trying to outbid and out-strategize the other firms.
And if you win that fight,
then you finally get to sign the SOW, the Statement of Work.
Okay, so why is the SOW so critical? It sounds like just another contract.
It is, but it is the Bible for the project. It is the legally binding document that says, we, the consulting firm, will deliver X, Y, and Z by this specific date.
Ah, I see.
If you are a junior consultant, the first thing you should do on a project is read the SOW. Because I guarantee you, 3 months in, the client will come to you and say, hey, can you just quickly add this extra feature? It'll only take a day.
And if you say yes,
you are now working for free. You've just given away your firm's profit. You need to be able to say politely, I would love to help with that, but that seems to be out of the scope of the current SOW. We can definitely write up a change order for it.
that is the ultimate cover your bases move.
It protects the project, protects the client, and it protects the profit margin.
Okay, one last acronym in this section. It's a tool, but it's used so heavily in consulting and in any big, complicated company. The RACI.
RACI, the RCI matrix. This is the tool you pull out when a project is turning to chaos because nobody knows whose job it is to do the thing.
Okay, break it down for us. What do the letters stand for?
So R is for responsible. This is the doer, the person or people whose fingers are actually on the keyboard, writing the report, coding the feature. A is for accountable. This is the person whose neck is on the line, the one who ultimately owns the outcome and has the final say to approve the work.
Okay.
C is for consulted. These are the people you need to have a two-way conversation with before you make a decision. The subject matter experts.
And I.
I is for informed. These are the people you just need to tell after the decision has been made. A one-way communication. An email, a memo, they don't have a say.
I feel like 90% of corporate dysfunction comes from mixing up C and I.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You have people who are just supposed to be informed, they just need to get the final email, who think they need to be consulted, they want a meeting, they want to give their opinion, they want to debate it, and that slows everything down to a crawl.
Or the opposite, where you forget to consult someone who has crucial info.
That's even worse. But the real poison is when you have two people who both think they are accountable.
Two captains on one ship.
Exactly. The golden rule of RCI, and you should write this down, you can have multiple R's, C's, and I's, but for any given task, you can only have one A.
One person is accountable.
If more than one person is accountable, then no one is accountable. It's a recipe for disaster.
That's just good life advice right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move from the consultants and go inside the corporation. Section 2, management and finance, or, as you call it, the scoreboard.
This is how the bosses keep score. This is the language of performance.
And the big one here, the term you will hear in every single town hall meeting, every performance review, is KPI.
KPI. Key Performance Indicator.
So is this just a fancy word for a metric or a statistic?
It is, but it's a selected statistic. A business generates millions and millions of data points every day. A KPI is one of the few you decide to stare at intently.
Like what?
Things like total revenue, customer conversion rate, net promoter score for satisfaction. It tells you the fundamental health of the machine. Is it running hot or is it running cold?
But I've noticed recently, especially if you work in tech or a more modern startup, that KPIs are seen as a bit, old world.
Mm-hmm.
The cool kids are all talking about OKRs.
Yes, the rise of the OKR. It stands for Objectives and Key Results. This framework came out of Intel in the 70s, but it was Google that really made it famous.
And what's the difference? Isn't it just another way to set goals?
The difference is really in the philosophy. A KPI is usually about maintenance. It's a health metric. Keep customer churn below 2%. It's a dial you just want to keep in the green zone.
Okay.
An OKR is about change and ambition. It's about pushing for a new state of being.
How does it work in practice? Can you give an example?
Sure. You start with an objective. The objective should be qualitative, inspirational, and ambitious. Something like, launch the most beloved new product in our industry.
Okay, so not a number, it's a vision.
Exactly. Then you link that to a few, usually 3 to 5 key results. The KRs are the numbers. They are the things that prove you achieve the objective.
So for most beloved product, the KRs would be?
Maybe KR1. Achieve a net promoter score of 60 or higher, KR2. Get 10,000 active users in the first quarter, KR3. Get positive reviews in 5 major industry publications. They are specific, measurable, and aggressive.
And here's the part about OKRs that I think always confuses people. You aren't actually supposed to hit them 100%, are you?
Exactly. That's the key cultural shift. The philosophy says if you hit 100% of your OKRs, you sandbagged. You made them too easy. The sweet spot is supposed to be around 70%. It encourages risk-taking and stretching for big goals.
I love that distinction. KPIs are about safety and not missing the target.
Right.
OKRs are about stretching and maybe failing, but in a good way.
It's about progress over perfection.
Okay, so where do we talk about all these KPIs and OKRs? That brings us to the reporting rituals. Let's start with the QBR.
The quarterly business review. This is a big one. Every 3 months, the business pauses for a moment. All the managers scramble to build PowerPoint slides. You look at the last 90 days of performance, what went right, what went wrong, and then you present your plan for the next 90 days.
And who are you usually presenting this to? This is where the SteerCo comes in, right?
Usually us. The steering committee.
This is a term that always sounded so funny to me, like it belongs on a cattle ranch or something.
It does, doesn't it? But it's the official governance body for a project or a business unit. It's the group of senior leaders who have the authority to make the big calls.
Like what?
They can approve the budget, they can change the direction, they can say, stop this project entirely, or here is another $1 million, go faster.
So if you're a junior manager and you have to present to the SteerCo.
It's a big moment. It's high visibility. You need to be concise, you need to be accurate, and you need to be ready for some really hard questions from some very important, very busy people.
Now, our glossary mentions some French variations here, which I think is important because so many global companies have a big presence or even headquarters in Paris or Geneva.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
If you work with French teams, you're probably not going to hear the term SteerCo. You'll hear COPIL.
COPIL.
Comité de pilotage. It means the exact same thing, a steering committee.
Who else?
You'll also hear CODIR. That's the Comité de Direction, which is the management committee for a whole division or country.
Right.
And then the ultimate boss level is the COMEX, Comité Executive, the executive committee, the C-suite. If the COMEX is discussing your project, it is very, very serious business.
Okay, let's talk money. Finance terms. Obviously, everyone has heard of ROI.
Return on investment, the most basic math in all of business. If I give you $1 for this project, will I get more than $1 back? If the answer is no, you don't do the project. Simple as that.
But there's a more nuanced financial concept that's really driving the entire IT industry right now, and that's CapEx versus OpEx.
This is so crucial to understand, especially if you want to sell anything to a chief financial officer.
Break it down. CapEx.
CapEx is capital expenditure. It's when you buy assets, a physical thing. Buying a building, buying a factory machine, buying a fleet of cars, or buying a computer server. It's a huge upfront check you have to write.
And OpEx.
OpEx is operating expenditure. These are the day-to-day running costs. Electricity, building rent, salaries, and subscriptions.
And you're saying the whole world is moving from a CapEx model to an OpEx model.
Aggressively.
Yeah.
This shift is the entire business model of the cloud.
How?
In the old days, say 15 years ago, if you wanted to launch a new website, you had to go buy a physical server for like $10,000. That's a big CapEx investment. It was risky.
Right. What if the website failed?
Then you're stuck with a very expensive metal box gathering dust. But now you just rent server space from Amazon or Microsoft for $50 a month. That's OpEx.
And CFOs love that.
They adore it because it's flexible and predictable. If the business idea fails, you just stop paying the monthly rent. You aren't stuck with a $10,000 asset you can't use. It dramatically de-risks innovation.
That makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Okay, last finance concept. This one's for the startup world. If you've ever watched Shark Tank or if you're trying to raise money, you absolutely need to know your TAM, SAM, SOM.
The startup trilogy. You cannot walk into a venture capitalist office without these 3 numbers.
So let's start with TAM.
TAM is the total addressable market. This is the dream. This is the biggest possible number you can imagine. Everyone in the world who drinks coffee is our market. It's usually a massive theoretical number designed to get investors excited.
The classic. It's a $50 billion opportunity.
Right. But obviously you can't serve everyone in the world. So then you have SAM, the serviceable available market.
Serviceable available.
This is the slice at the TAM that your product or service is actually relevant for. We're only selling our premium coffee beans in North America and only to cafes. That cuts the number down significantly.
And finally, the most important one, SOM.
SOM, serviceable obtainable market. This is reality. This is your target for the next year or two. Given that we have 2 salespeople and a $50,000 marketing budget, we can realistically capture 1% of the SAM this year.
So investors look at the SOM to see if you're realistic, and they look at the TAM to see if you're ambitious.
That's it, exactly. You need both to tell a compelling story.
Got it. Okay, moving on. Section 3, project management, or as I like to think of it, organizing the chaos.
The art of getting things done on time and on budget without everyone killing each other.
It really feels like there's a religious war in this space. The old school versus the new school.
Oh, for sure. It's waterfall versus agile. And people have very, very strong feelings about it.
So let's start with the classic school, the waterfall method.
This is the world of the PM, the project manager, and the PMO, the project management office.
Okay, what's the philosophy here?
The philosophy is plan everything first, then execute the plan perfectly. You create a massive, detailed plan up front, often using a tool called a WBS, a work breakdown structure, where you list every single task for the next 18 months.
Wow.
And it's sequential. You do step A. When step A is 100% done, you move to step B. It's like building a bridge. You can't pour the asphalt before you've built the support pillars.
But in the world of software, that model started to break.
It broke badly. Because by the time you finish your perfect 18-month plan, the customer's needs had changed, the market had changed, the technology had changed. The thing you built was already obsolete.
So Agile was born.
Right. And in the Agile world, you don't have a project manager telling people what to do from on high. You have a team with different roles, most famously a PO and an SM.
PO and SM. Who does what?
The PO is the product owner. They are the voice of the customer. Their job is to decide what to build and in what order. They manage the backlog, which is just a big prioritized to-do list of features.
Okay, so the PO sets the direction. What about the Scrum Master, the SM?
The Scrum Master is the coach. They don't manage the people. They manage the process. Their job is to make sure the team is following the Agile rules and to clear any obstacles that are slowing the team down. They're a facilitator.
And instead of that 18-month marathon plan,
You work in sprints.
short bursts of work.
Exactly, usually 2 weeks long. The team pulls a few items from the top of the backlog. They commit to finishing them in those 2 weeks. They build them, they finish them, and at the end, they show a working piece of software to the client. Then they start the next sprint.
And that allows you to change direction, to pivot much more quickly.
Infinitely more quickly. You're getting feedback every 2 weeks instead of every 2 years.
Now, within this Agile world, there is a concept that I think is constantly misunderstood and misused. The difference between a PC and an MVP.
Oh, this is a classic source of argument.
So let's clarify. QC.
QC is a proof of concept. This is a science experiment conducted in a lab. It is not for customers. It's for the engineers to answer a purely technical question. Can we technically connect this drone's camera to this toaster's heating element? You hack it together with duct tape and alligator clips just to see if it's even possible.
And the MVP.
The minimum viable product. This is a product. It is meant to be used by real customers, but it is the absolute smallest, simplest version of your idea that you can build to test the most important question. Do people actually want this?
There's a great analogy for this, isn't there?
Yeah, the transportation analogy, I use this all the time. If your customer's problem is, I want to get from point A to point B faster, and your ultimate vision is to build a car. The waterfall way would be to spend 6 months building a perfect wheel, then 6 months on an axle, then a year on the chassis. The customer gets nothing for years.
And the Agile MVP way.
First, you build a skateboard.
A skateboard.
Yes, it's not a car, it's nowhere near your final vision, but on day one, it solves the customer's core problem. I can move faster than walking. You give it to them and get feedback.
And if they like it.
Maybe they say, this is great, but I keep falling off. So you put a handle on it, now it's a scooter. Then they say, this is tiring. So you add a small engine, now it's a motorcycle. Then they say, it's cold, so you put a roof on it, now finally it's a car.
At every single stage, you have a usable product that is delivering value. You aren't waiting 2 years for the perfect car that nobody might want.
That's the MVP mindset. Stop trying to build the Ferrari on day one. Start with the skateboard.
That makes it so incredibly clear. Okay, so regardless of whether you're waterfall or agile, you need a way to track all the bad stuff that can happen. The RAID log.
My favorite project management tool. It's so simple and so powerful.
So RAID.
R is for risks. These are potential future problems. There's a 30% chance it might rain during our outdoor event.
Okay. A.
A is for actions. This is your to-do list to mitigate the risks. Action. Buy 10 umbrellas before the event.
Makes sense. I.
I is for issues. These are problems that are happening right now. The risk has become a reality. It is currently raining and our keynote speaker is getting wet.
And D.
D is for decisions. This is a log of all the important choices that were made. On February 17th, The committee decided not to spend budget on a tent.
Why is that D so important? It seems a little bureaucratic.
Because corporate memory is shockingly short. 2 months from now, when the project is over budget, some executive who was in that meeting will scream, "Why didn't we buy a tent? This is ridiculous." And you, the savvy project manager, can calmly open the RAID log and say, "Because on this date, as you can see in the minutes, the SteerCo decided we didn't have the budget for a tent. It was a formal decision." It stops the gaslighting.
I love that. It's a weapon against corporate amnesia.
It is the ultimate CYA tool.
Okay, let's move into the engine room, section 4, the back end. IT and tech. This is where the jargon can get really, really thick.
Yeah, this is where a lot of people just start to nod and smile.
So we have to start with the cloud
Huh?
and the as-a-service trio, IS, PaaS, SaaS.
Right. ISaaS, PaaS.
Yeah.
The easiest way to visualize this is the pizza as a service analogy, but I think the housing analogy is even better for a corporate context.
Okay, let's do housing.
Okay. Let's say you need a place to live or a place to run your application.
Got it.
IS is infrastructure as a service. This is like renting a plot of land and a pile of bricks from someone. You have to build the house yourself, put in the plumbing, run the electricity, furnish it, and clean it. You have a lot of control, but it's a ton of work.
And in the tech world, that's like
Amazon EC2 or Google Compute Engine. You're just renting raw server power.
okay, what's PaaS?
PaaS is platform as a service. This is like renting a finished house, but it's completely empty. The walls are up, the plumbing works, the electricity is on. You just have to bring your own furniture and decorations, which is your application code. You don't have to worry about the foundation or the roof.
And SaaS.
SaaS is software as a service. This is like living in a fully furnished, serviced hotel. You just walk in with your suitcase, the bed is made, the lights work, room service is available. You don't manage anything. This is Gmail, Salesforce, Slack.
And in the corporate world, everyone is moving towards SaaS.
Everyone. Because nobody wants to build the house anymore. They just want to sleep in the bed and get their work done.
So how do all these different SaaS systems talk to each other? That's the API, right?
The application programming interface. This is one of the most important concepts to understand about the modern internet.
So explain it simply.
Okay, imagine you're in a restaurant. You are the user sitting at the table. The kitchen is the system you want to get something from, a database, a server, whatever. You don't just walk into the kitchen and start rummaging through the fridge and cooking your own food. That would be chaos. You have a waiter.
Right.
The API is the waiter. You give your request to the waiter in a specific format from the menu. The waiter takes your message to the kitchen does the work, and the waiter brings the result back to you.
So when I use login with Google on a totally random website,
that website is using an API to send a waiter over to Google's kitchen to ask, "Hey, is this person who they say they are?" Google's kitchen says yes, and the waiter comes back and lets you in.
it's the invisible glue holding the entire internet together.
Without APIs, every single piece of software would be a lonely, isolated island.
Okay, 2 terms that you hear constantly that define modern developer culture: DevOps and CI/CD.
Right. Let's start with DevOps. You have to understand the history. Historically, you had 2 teams that hated each other. You had developers whose job was to change things and add new features,
And you had operations people.
whose job was to keep things stable and change nothing. So they were in constant conflict. DevOps is basically a peace treaty. It's a culture and a set of tools that merges them. The new philosophy is you build it, you run it.
And CI/CD is what makes that possible.
CI/CD is the robot that automates the whole process. It stands for continuous integration and continuous deployment.
In English.
It means that whenever a developer saves a single line of code, a robot automatically runs thousands of tests on it. If all the tests pass, the robot automatically pushes that change to the live website.
So that's how companies like Netflix or Amazon can update their site thousands of times a day without it breaking.
Exactly. No more big bang releases once every year that take all weekend and always go wrong. It's constant, small, safe changes.
Let's talk about data. You always hear it's the new oil.
It is. But just like oil, it's useless until you refine it. That's where ETL comes in.
ETL.
Extract, transform, load. It's the process for refining data. First, you extract data from all over the place. Your sales app, your website logs, your marketing tools. Then you transform it. This is the refining part. You clean it up, fix the spelling errors, standardize the formats, remove duplicates,
And then you load it.
into a central data warehouse, a single source of truth. Only then, once it's clean and organized, can you use BI business intelligence tools like Power BI or Tableau to make those pretty charts and dashboards for the CEO.
And finally, the topic of the year, probably the decade, AI. There are a few key acronyms here.
Yes, and it's really important to distinguish between the types.
Okay, start with RPA.
RPA is robotic process automation. This is not AI in the smart thinking sense. It's a dumb bot. It's basically a very sophisticated macro. It's a piece of software that mimics a human clicking a mouse and typing on a keyboard.
So it's for
boring, repetitive admin tasks. Open this Excel file, copy the value in cell A1, paste it into this website form, click submit, and do it 10,000 times.
Then we have the smart stuff, the LLM.
LLM, large language model. This is the technology behind things like ChatGPT. It's a massive neural network that has been trained on basically the entire internet. Its core function is just to predict the next most likely word in a sentence.
And it leads to Gen AI.
Gen AI, or generative AI. This is the broad category of AI that actually creates new, original content, text, images, music, code. An RPA bot can only repeat what you did. Gen AI can create something that has never existed before.
That's a great distinction. Okay, let's shift gears. Section 5, HR, or as they like to be called now, people and culture.
The department formerly known as personnel.
Yes. The big shift here, according to our sources, is the rise of the HRBP.
The HR business partner. This is a really important evolution of the HR function.
How so?
Old school HR sat in a basement office somewhere and just processed payroll and handled complaints. They were very separate from the business.
Right.
And HRBP is embedded in the business. There is an HRBP dedicated to the sales team, an HRBP for the engineering team. Their job is to be a strategic advisor to the managers of those teams.
On what kind of topics?
Things like, hey, your team's voluntary turnover is really high. Let's look at the data and figure out why they're burned out. Or, based on our business strategy, we're going to need to hire people with AI skills next year. Let's start planning for that now. They're proactive, not reactive.
Now, our source material highlights some very specific European and particularly French acronyms here. Why should our global listeners care about these?
Because if you work for any multinational company, or if you ever manage a team in Europe, you absolutely cannot ignore these. The labor laws are incredibly strict and employee rights are very strong.
Okay, so give us an example. GPEC.
GPEC, which has recently been renamed GEPP. In France, companies of a certain size are legally required to do forward-looking planning for jobs and skills. You have to document, in 3 years, we probably won't need as many of this type of role, but we will need more of this other type of role. It's all about anticipating change and protecting employees' long-term employability.
Wow. And the CSE?
The CSE, Comité Social et Économique. This is the elected employee representative body, or works council.
And why is it so important?
In the U.S., if management decides to, change the coffee brand in the break room, they just do it. In France, for many, many business decisions, from small things to huge layoffs, you are legally required to formally inform and consult the CSE.
If you don't,
you can get sued, have the decision overturned, or face a strike. It's a massive part of the corporate power dynamic in a way that just doesn't exist in the same way in the States.
And one more, QVCT.
Quality of life and working conditions. This is the broad wellness acronym, but again, it's more formalized. It's not just about offering yoga classes. It covers topics like the right to disconnect, not emailing people at 9 p.m., as well as gender equality, pay gaps, and flexible work arrangements. It's becoming a key part of the employer brand.
Speaking of brand, let's talk about the employee life cycle. Onboarding and offboarding.
Onboarding, I think most people get. It's the process of welcoming a new employee to the company. It's offboarding, where so many companies completely fail.
But why does it matter? The person is leaving anyway. Who cares?
2 words. Boomerang employees. Good talent is scarce. Someone might leave your company to travel for a year or to try out a risky startup that fails. If you treat them with respect when they leave, you conduct a professional exit interview, you have a nice send-off. They might come back in 2 years, bringing a whole new set of skills with them.
And if you treat them poorly?
If you treat them like a traitor, they will go on Glassdoor and LinkedIn and badmouth your company to every other talented person they know forever.
So good offboarding is basically just marketing.
It's 100% marketing and reputation management.
That leads us perfectly into our next section. Section 6, digital and marketing. Growth mode.
How we get the customers and how we get paid.
Let's start with the search engine world, the Holy Trinity. SEO, SEA, SEM.
Okay, so SEO is search engine optimization. This is the organic or natural game. It's about writing great content, having a fast website, and earning Google's trust so you show up on the first page for free. It takes a lot of time and effort.
And SEA.
SEA is search engine advertising. This is Google Ads. This is paying cold, hard cash to skip the line and have your ad appear at the very top of the search results.
And SEM.
SEM, search engine marketing, is just the umbrella term that covers both SEO and CCA. It's your total search strategy.
Okay, so when you're paying for those ads, you are watching the metrics like a hawk. Let's talk CPC, CPM, and CTR.
Right. CPC is cost per click. You pay Google 50 cents every single time someone clicks on your ad. This is great for performance-based marketing where you want an action.
CPM?
CPM is cost per mil, which is Latin for 1,000, so cost per 1,000 impressions. You pay, say, $10 for every 1,000 people who simply see your banner ad. This is better for brand awareness.
And CTR is the one that tells you if your ad is any good.
Exactly, the click-through rate. It's the percentage of people who saw your ad who actually clicked on it. If your CTR is under 1%, your ad is probably really boring or irrelevant.
Now, for startups and especially for SaaS software as a service companies, there is a golden ratio that basically determines life or death. CAC versus LTV.
This is it. This is the whole game. This is unit economics.
So CAC.
CAC is your customer acquisition cost. You take your total sales and marketing spend in a month and you divide it by the number of new customers you got. It cost us, on average, $100 to get this new customer.
And LTV.
LTV is the lifetime value. Over the entire time this person remains a customer, how much total revenue will they generate for us before they quit?
And what's the magic rule? The ratio.
The rule of thumb is that your LTV must be at least 3 times your CAC.
3 to 1.
LTV 3x CAC. If you spend $100 to get a customer, you need to be confident you'll make at least $300 back from them over time. If you only make $110, you are going to go bankrupt very quickly because you haven't even covered your overheads.
If you don't know your LTV to CAC ratio, do not go on Shark Tank.
They will eat you alive. It's the first question they ask.
Then there's the internal battle of the leads. MQL versus SQL.
The eternal war between the marketing department and the sales department.
What's an MQL?
An MQL is a marketing qualified lead. This is someone who has shown some interest, like they downloaded a white paper from your website. The marketing team gets very excited and says, look, a lead, go sell to them.
And in SQL?
And SQL is a sales qualified lead. This is when the sales team actually calls that person and realizes it's a 12-year-old kid doing a school project. The sales team then screams, this is not a real lead.
So in SQL is when sales has actually qualified them.
Yes. And SQL is when sales confirms they have budget, authority, need, and a timeline to buy. The acronym they use is BANT. The friction in every company comes from marketing sending over a flood of weak MQLs and sales complaining they're wasting their time.
And for any subscription business, the one metric that keeps the CEO up at night, churn.
Churn, the attrition rate, the percentage of your customers who cancel their subscription every month.
And what's a bad number?
If you are losing 5% or more of your customers every single month, you have a very leaky bucket. You can pour as much water-new marketing leads in the top as you want, but the bucket will never, ever fill up. You have to fix the churn problem before you spend another dollar on growth.
Finally, a strategy term that is super hot right now, especially in tech. PLG.
Product-led growth. This is a fundamental shift in how software is sold.
How does it work?
Think about companies like Slack, Zoom, or Dropbox. The old way to sell software was to hire 50 expensive salespeople to call CIOs and try to sell them $1 million contract.
Top-down selling.
Exactly. The PLG way is to make the basic product free. Let individual employees start using it because they like it. They invite their teammates, their team invites their boss. Eventually, the whole company is using it, and the boss has no choice but to pull out the credit card and pay.
So a product itself does the selling from the bottom up.
It's the Trojan horse strategy, in the best possible way.
All right. We have arrived. Section 7. The final boss. The buzzwords. The bullshit bingo card.
The terms that we all roll our eyes at, but then we secretly use them 5 times a day.
Let's start with the email classics. ASAP, FYI, TBD. They seem simple, but they have subtext.
Oh, they totally do. ASAP, as soon as possible, is aggressive. It means drop what you're doing and do this now.
FYI.
FYI, for your information, is often passive-aggressive. FYI, you missed the deadline.
And TBD.
TBD, to be determined, is pure procrastination. We'll figure that out later. And let's throw in WIP, work in progress. That's the shield you use when someone asks to see your work. Don't judge it yet, it's a WIP.
What about BAU? I hear this one a lot.
Business as usual. This is actually a really important concept for resource planning. You'll hear someone say, are you working on the new Project X this week?
And the answer is?
No, I'm completely stuck in BAU. BAU is the daily grind. Answering emails, running the regular reports, keeping the lights on. It's often seen as less sexy than project mode, but it's what actually pays the bills.
Let's do meeting lingo. Let's sync.
Let's have a sync. It sounds faster and more modern than let's have a meeting. But it is, in fact, just a meeting.
Like kickoff.
The very first meeting for a new project. It usually involves bad pizza and a level of optimism that will never be seen again for the rest of the project.
And a deep dive.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing right now, isn't it? Getting into the weeds on a specific topic.
Now for the consulting favorites, I honestly feel like consultants are sometimes paid by the syllable. Let's talk about leverage and scalable.
I am so guilty of using these. It's beaten into you.
So what does leverage actually mean?
It just means use. But using our assets sounds cheap and boring. Leveraging our global footprint sounds strategic and expensive. It's a $5 word for a 50-cent concept.
And scalable.
This one is actually important. It means, can it grow easily without breaking or costing a fortune?
For example.
A consulting business is not very scalable because to do twice as much work, you have to hire twice as many people. Your costs grow with your revenue. But a software business is highly scalable. To sell to 1 million customers instead of 10,000, you just copy the code. The marginal cost is almost zero.
So I were to say, we need to leverage our synergies to create a scalable, customer-centric solution.
You have said absolutely nothing of substance, but you sound like you should be charging a TJM of at least $2,000.
And finally, the problem-solving words. Pain point, bottleneck, and quick win.
Okay, pain point. This is sales and marketing 101. You don't sell a product, you sell a painkiller. Your job is to find the client's biggest recurring problem, the thing that really hurts them, and solve that.
The bottleneck.
The traffic jam, the one step in a process that is slowing everyone else down. You'll hear, we could launch this month, but we're waiting on the legal review. In that case, the legal department is the bottleneck.
And a quick win.
This is more than a buzzword. This is genuine career advice. When you start a new job or a new project, do not try to change the entire world in month 1. Find a quick win.
Like what?
Something small, easy to do, and highly visible. Fix the broken coffee machine. Automate a report that everyone hates doing manually. It builds trust and political capital that you can spend later on your big, ambitious ideas.
That is fantastic advice.
It is the key to surviving the first 90 days in any job.
So we have just sprinted through 141 terms. From the big 4 all the way to the bottleneck.
It's a lot to take in, but hopefully you can start to see the pattern now. It's not just a random list of words. It's a map of how the corporate world thinks and what it values.
Right.
Consultants sell their expertise by the day, TJM. Managers have to track progress, KPI, OKR. Developers build engines that can run forever, DevOps, API. And marketing has to buy attention efficiently, CPC, CCAT.
When you know the acronyms, you stop feeling like an outsider in the room. You stop just nodding and pretending you understand.
Yeah.
You can actually start to participate. You can contribute.
Exactly. You can sit in that SteerCo meeting and intelligently ask, wait, is this solution actually scalable? Or will our OpEx explode if it's successful? And you'll watch everyone in the room look at you with newfound respect.
That is the goal. Now, as we promised at the start, you do not have to have memorized this entire transcript. There is a full, detailed PDF glossary available. Just check the description of this deep dive for the link.
Download it, keep it on your desktop, use it as your cheat sheet for the first 6 months. It's the best quick win you're going to get today, I promise.
Thank you so much for guiding us through this alphabet soup. This was incredibly helpful.
My pleasure. Let's make sure to circle back and sync up offline to align on any action items from this deep dive.
Get out of here. Thanks everyone for listening to the deep dive. Good luck in your next meeting.